Nehemiah chapter 37. Now Zedekiah son of Josiah reigned as king instead of Coniah son of Joachim, whom King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon made king in the land of Judah. But neither he nor his servants nor the people of the land paid attention to the words of Adonai which he spoke by the prophet Jeremiah. Yet King Zedekiah sent Jehukal son of Shelemiah and Zephaniah son of Maaseiah the priest to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Pray now to Adonai our God for us. Now Jeremiah was coming in and going out among the people, for they had not put him into prison. Meanwhile, Pharaoh's army had set out of Egypt, and when the Chaldeans besieging Jerusalem heard the report about them, they lifted the siege from Jerusalem. Then came the word of Adonai to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Adonai, the God of Israel, thus will you say to the king of Judah, who sent you to me to inquire of me, Now Pharaoh's army, which is come forth to help you, will return to Egypt into their own land. The Chaldeans will return and fight against this city. Then they will capture it and burn it with fire. Thus says Adonai, do not deceive yourselves, saying, The Chaldeans will surely depart from us, for they will not depart. For even if you had struck down the entire Chaldean army fighting against you, and there were left among them only wounded men, each in his tent, they would get up and burn the city down with fire. So it came to pass, when the army of the Chaldeans went out from Jerusalem for fear of Pharaoh's army, that Jeremiah went out of Jerusalem to go to the land of Benjamin, to claim his property there among the people. But when he was at the Benjamin gate, a captain of the guard was there, whose name was Iriah, son of Shelemiah, son of Hananiah, who arrested the prophet Jeremiah, saying, You are deserting to the Chaldeans. But Jeremiah said, That is a lie. I am not deserting to the Chaldeans. But Iriah would not listen to him, but arrested Jeremiah and brought him to the officials. The officials were angry with Jeremiah, had him beaten, and put him into prison in the house of Jonathan the scribe, for they had made that the prison. For Jeremiah went into a vaulted cell in the dungeon pit, and Jeremiah remained there many days. Then King Zedekiah sent for him and received him in his palace secretly. And the king asked him, Is there any word from Adonai? There is, Jeremiah said, and he also said, You shall be given into the hand of the king of Babylon. Moreover, Jeremiah said to King Zedekiah, How have I sinned against you, or against your servants, or against this people, that you have put me in prison? Where now are your prophets who prophesied to you, saying, The king of Babylon will not come against you or against this land? So now please listen, my lord the king. Please let me petition come before you, and do not make me return to the house of Jonathan the scribe, so I will not die there. And then Zedekiah the king gave a command, and they committed Jeremiah into the courtyard of the guard. They gave him a loaf of bread from the baker's street daily, until all the bread in the city was spent. So Jeremiah stayed in the guard's courtyard. Chapter 38. Now Shephatiah son of Matan, and Gedaliah son of Pashur, Jukal son of Shelemiah, and Pashur son of Malchiah heard the words that Jeremiah spoke to all the people, saying, Thus says Adonai, He that remains in this city will die by the sword, by famine, and by plague, but anyone who goes out to the Chaldeans will live. So he will keep his life like the spoils of war, and will live. Thus says Adonai, This city will surely be given into the hand of the army of the king of Babylon, and he will capture it. Then the officials said to the king, This man should now be put to death, since he demoralizes the men of war remaining in this city, as well as all the people, by speaking such words to them. For this man is not seeking the shalom of this people, but calamity. When King Zedekiah said, Here he is in your hand, for the king cannot do anything against you. So they took Jeremiah to cast him into the cistern pit of Malchiah, of the king's son, which was in the courtyard of the guard, lowering Jeremiah down with ropes. Now in the pit there was no water, but only mud, and Jeremiah sank into the mud. Now Ebed-Melech An Ethiopian official in the king's palace heard they had put Jeremiah in the pit. While the king was sitting in the Benjamin gate, Ebed-melech went out from the king's palace and spoke to the king, saying, My lord the king, these men have done evil in all that they have done to Jeremiah the prophet, whom they cast into the pit. He is likely to die right where he is from hunger, for there is no more bread in the city. Then the king commanded Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Take 30 men from here with you and bring the prophet Jeremiah up out of the cistern before he dies. So Ebed-melech took the men with him and went into the king's palace under the storehouse. From there he took worn-out clothes and worn-out rags and lowered them by ropes into the cistern pit to Jeremiah. And Ebed-melech the Ethiopian said to Jeremiah, Now put these worn-out clothes and rags under your armpits and under the ropes. Jeremiah did so. Then they pulled Jeremiah up with the ropes and lifted him up out of the pit. But Jeremiah remained in the courtyard of the guard. Then Zedekiah the king sent for the prophet Jeremiah and received him at the third entrance in the house of Adonai. The king said to Jeremiah, I am going to ask you something. Hide nothing from me. Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, If I tell you, won't you surely put me to death? Besides, if I give you counsel, you won't listen to me. So Zedekiah the king swore secretly to Jeremiah, saying, As Adonai lives, that gave us life, I will not put you to death, nor will I give you into the hand of these men seeking your life. Then Jeremiah said to Zedekiah, Thus says Adonai, Elohim Sabaoth, the God of Israel, if you will go out to the officers of the king of Babylon, then your soul will live. This city will not be burned with fire, and you and your household will survive. But if you do not go out to the officers to the king of Babylon, then this city will be handed over to the Chaldeans. They will burn it with fire, and you will not escape out of their hand. Zedekiah the king said to Jeremiah, I am afraid of the Judeans who have deserted to the Chaldeans, lest they hand me over to them and they abuse me. But Jeremiah said, They will not hand you over. Please obey the voice of Adonai and what I am speaking to you, so it will go well for you and your soul will live. But if you keep refusing to go out, this is the word that Adonai has shown me. Soon all the women who are left in the palace of the king of Judah will be brought out to the officers of the king of Babylon, and those women will say, Your close friends have misled you and prevailed over you. Your feet are sunk in the mire, and they deserted you. Then they will bring out all your wives and your children to the Chaldeans, and you shall not escape out of their hand, but shall be seized by the hand of the king of Babylon. But this city will be burned down with fire. Then said Zedekiah to Jeremiah, Let no one know of these words, and you will not die. But if the officials hear that I have talked with you, and they come to you and say to you, Tell us now what you have said to the king. Hide nothing from us, and we will not put you to death. And what did the king say to you? Then you will tell him, I was presenting my petition before the king, and not to make me return to Jonathan's house to die there. When all the officials came to Jeremiah and questioned him, he told them with just these words that the king had commanded. So they stopped speaking with him, since the matter was not overheard. Then Jeremiah stayed in the guard's courtyard until the day that Jerusalem was captured. Chapter 39. Now when Jerusalem was captured in the 9th year of King Zedekiah of Judah, in the 10th month, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon and all his army advanced against Jerusalem and besieged it. On the 9th day of the 4th month of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the city wall was broken through. Then all the officials of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate. Nergal Sarezer, Samgar Nebo, Sarsashim, the Rabsaris, Nergal Sarezer, the Rabamag, and all the rest of the officials of Babylon's king. Now when King Zedekiah of Judah and all the men of war saw him, they fled. They went out of the city at night by way of the king's garden through the gate between the two walls, heading out toward the way of the Arabah. But the Chaldean army pursued them and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. When they captured him, they brought him up to King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath. where he passed judgment on him. The king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. Moreover, the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah. Then he blinded Zedekiah's eyes, and he bound him in shackles to carry him off to Babylon. Then the Chaldeans burned the king's palace and the houses of the people with fire, broke down the walls of Jerusalem. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away into exile the rest of the people, those who remained in the city, and also the deserters who had defected to him, and the rest of the people remaining. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left some of the poorest of the people who had nothing behind in the land of Judah, gave them vineyards and fields in that day. Now King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon gave orders about Jeremiah to Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, saying, "Take him and look after him, and do no harm to him. Rather, do to him just as he tells you." So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guards, sent word. So Nebuchadnezzar, the Rabsaris, Nergal-Sarezer, the Rabmag, and all the chief officers of the king of Babylon sent and brought Jeremiah out of the guard's courtyard and gave him to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, to take him home. So he dwelt among the people. Now the word of Adonai came to Jeremiah while he was shut up in the guard's courtyard, saying, "Go, speak to Ebed-melech the Ethiopian, saying, Thus says Adonai Tsabaoth, the God of Israel, listen, I will bring about my words on this city for evil and not for good. They will happen before you in that day, but I will deliver you in that day. It is a declaration of Adonai, and you will not be given into the hand of the men whom you dread. For I will surely rescue you, so you will not fall by the sword, but you will keep your life as spoils, because you put your trust in me. It is a declaration of Adonai." Chapter 40. The word which came to Jeremiah from Adonai after Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had released him from Ramah. He had taken him bound in chains among all the captives of Jerusalem and Judah, who were being exiled to Babylon. Now the captain of the guard had taken Jeremiah and said to him, "Adonai, your God, pronounced this evil against this place, and Adonai brought it about and did just as he said, because you have sinned against Adonai and have not listened to his voice. This thing has happened to you, but now behold, I am freeing you this day from the chains that are on your hand. If it is good in your eyes to come with me to Babylon, come, and I will look after you. But if it is evil in your eyes to come with me to Babylon, stop. Look, the whole land is before you. Wherever it seems good and right to you to go, and there go." But he would not turn back. "Go back then to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, whom the king of Babylon has made governor over the cities of Judah, and dwell with him among the people, or go anywhere it seems right in your eyes to go." Then the captain of the guard gave him a ration and a gift, and let him go. So Jeremiah went to the son of Ahikam to Mizpah, and dwelt with him among the people that were left in the land. Now all the commanders of the forces that were in the field, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah son of Ahikam over the land, and had put him in charge of the men and women and children, the poorest of the land, who were not carried away captive to Babylon. So they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah, including the Ishmael son of Nethaniah, Johanan and Jonathan, sons of Kareah, Seraiah son of Tanhumeth, the sons of Ephi, and Netophathite, and Jezaniah son of the Maakathite, they and their men. Then Gedaliah son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, swore to them to their men, saying, "Do not be afraid to serve the Chaldeans. Stay in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it will go well for you. As for me, look, I will dwell at Mizpah to stand before the Chaldeans who come to us. But as for you, gather wine, summer fruit, and oil, and put them in your jars, and dwell in your cities that you have taken over." Also, when all the Jews who were in Moab, among Ammon's children in Edom, and in all the countries, heard that the king of Babylon had left a remnant of Judah, and that he had appointed over them Gedaliah son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, then all the Jews returned out of all places where they had been driven, and came back to the land of Judah, to Gedaliah at Mizpah, and gathered wine and summer fruit in great abundance. Then Johanan son of Kareah and all the commanders of the forces that were in the field came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, and said to him, Are you aware that Baalis, the king of Ammon's children, has sent Ishmael son of Nethaniah to take your life? But Gedaliah son of Ahim did not believe them. Then Johanan son of Kareah spoke privately to Gedaliah at Mizpah, saying, Let me go now, and I will slay Ishmael son of Nethaniah, and no one will know it. Why should he take your life, so that all the Jews that are gathered to you would be scattered, and the remnant of Judah perish? But Gedaliah son of Ahikam said to Johanan son of Kareah, Don't do this thing, for what you are saying about Ishmael is a lie. Chapter 41. Now it was in the 7th month that Ishmael son of Nethaniah, son of Elishama, of royal descent, and one of the chief officers of the king, along with 10 men, came to Gedaliah son of Ahikam to Mizpah. While they were eating bread there together in Mizpah, Ishmael son of Nethaniah rose up with 10 men that were with him, and struck down Gedaliah son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, with the sword, putting to death the one whom the king of Babylon had appointed over the land. Ishmael also slew all the Jews who were with Gedaliah at Mizpah, as well as the Chaldean soldiers who were found there. Now it was the next day after he had slain Gedaliah, when no one knew about it, that 80 men came from Shechem, from Shiloh, and from Samaria, with their beards shaved off and their clothes rent, and having gashed themselves, with grain offerings and frankincense in their hand, to bring to the house of Adonai. So Ishmael son of Nethaniah went out from Mizpah to meet them, weeping all along as he went, and he came to meet them. He said to them, Come to Gedaliah son of Ahikam. Yet it was that as soon as they came within of the city, that Ishmael son of Nethaniah and the men with him slaughtered them within the cistern pit. However, 10 men were found among them, that they said to Ishmael, Don't kill us, for we have hidden stores in the field, wheat, barley, oil, and honey. So he held off and did not kill them along with their companions. Now the cisterns where Ishmael cast all the corpse of the men whom he killed, because they were on Gedaliah's side, was the one which King Asa had made for fear of King Baasa of Israel. Ishmael son of Nethaniah filled it with the slain. Then Ishmael carried away captive all the rest of the people that were in Mizpah, including the king's daughters, all the people who were left in Mizpah, over whom Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had put under the charge of Gedaliah son of Ahikam. Ishmael son of Nethaniah carried them away captive and set off to cross over to Ammon's children. But Johanan son of Kareah and all the commanders of the forces that were with him heard about all the evil that Ishmael son of Nethaniah had done. So they took all the men and went out to fight with Ishmael son of Nethaniah, and found him by the great pool of Gibeon. Now when all the people who were with Ishmael saw Johanan son of Kareah and all the commanders of the forces that were with him, they were glad. So all the people that Ishmael had carried away captive from Mizpah turned around and came back, and went over to Johanan son of Kareah. But Ishmael son of Nethaniah escaped from Johanan with 8 men, and went to Ammon's children. Then Johanan son of Kareah and all the commanders of the forces that were with him took all the remnant of the people whom he had rescued from Ishmael son of Nethaniah from Mizpah, after he had murdered Gedaliah son of Ahikam, the men, the soldiers, women, and children, the court officials whom he had brought back from Gibeon, and they left and stayed at Chimham's lodge, which is near Bethlehem, in order to go on to enter Egypt, away from the Chaldeans. But they were afraid of them, since Ishmael son of Nethaniah had killed Gedaliah son of Ahikam, whom the king of Babylon had appointed over the land.